We've got Viper, who's gone for the Mayans. The first time we've seen Mayans picked on Spiral the entire season. And then we've got Andy, the player who was probably not expected to make it to the quarterfinals when this season began. And he's playing as the Byzantines.
Very interesting. Mayans on this map is a bit of a surprise to me. Maybe it is the counter against Byzantines, thinking, okay, most of the time Byzantines is struggling, strong knights, and therefore Eagles are a bit better. But typically, we're looking for more mobility, while Mayans, well, not the craziest fast units out on the map.
Yeah, someone had just asked me, are we going to see experimentation from Viper today? And I was like, they already played 15 games in the group stage. Many things are already going to be somewhat figured out. And I figured that we wouldn't see much different from what we considered to be the meta here. But yeah, Mayans game 1. This is a late pick for Viper. And I'm really curious to see how he chooses to deal with the mobility, like you said. I imagine he has to dock still, but the land aspect will be tricky.
Overall, the draft of Viper, not really the one that we would have expected. Early Vietnamese, early Khmer, early Incas. So that is quite a surprise. Different prioritization compared to most players.
Yep. Andy, I'd gone over to his berry area, and he tried to get the sheep and the cow. Viper did lame the cow. And Andy's actually looking for the berries for the Viper right now. But I spoke with Andy and yesterday about like potential approach from Viper and like how he's feeling and whatnot. And the general feeling I got from him is just, if I lose to Viper, I lose to Viper. I can't be disappointed with that. It's been a great season for me. To make it to the top 8, get to the quarterfinals is awesome. So there's definitely a feeling of nothing to lose here for Andy, which could be really fun. That might be the best Andy we can get.
Yeah, potentially. I asked him as well. He was in the chat, and I predicted this one to be roughly 15% winning chances for Andy in this best of 5. Andy himself said it's more in the 5% area.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he even said like 3 weeks in when people were like, top of the group, Andy. He's like, wait a second, I can still be relegated, right?
Yeah.
So let's not like, paint me as like this ridiculous player just yet, but he's made it all the way here a couple weeks later. Now, look at this. Andy knows how this map is laid out. I think this is a planned strategy. His Dark Age dock is the dock that goes on Viper's side of the water here, and this is not something Viper sees at the moment.
Yeah, he will obviously see it once he goes for the deep fish, right? Very natural, but still, this is absolutely beautiful. Byzantines, they will always win the 1v1 Fire Galley war. I love this early start.
Yeah, it is an interesting approach, and we talked about players knowing what is going to come because of so many games being played. Viper watched the earlier rounds with Andy. Viper especially paid very close attention to the series against Dogao, I'm sure. And this is probably not something Viper was expecting. That said, Andy doesn't have Loom right now, so he did bring a villager forward against Viper's Eagle, potentially.
Yeah, Andy is so good in villager movement and quick walling, so I'm not really scared for him. Just waits for Loom. Oh, and now goes for the other deep fish. All fine for him.
Yeah, Viper may choose to attack. If he does, Andy could quick wall it. So, normally what we've seen from Byzantines is we've seen spear defense and water. That's what Yo did against Barles. There's no real reason to make spears if you're up against the Mayans, though. So that does kind of make the decision on what you do combined with the Navy here a little bit more difficult.
Ooh, let's take a look what the villager is up to first. Scout a bit out of position. Bit surprised here. This will be a tricky quick wall. Going to feudal age behind this one. I think he tries to block with a fishing ship. No, those are idle. And Andy...
quick wall comes in against the Viper in the very first game. What in the world? Oh, he's got to pull away now.
Shot it.
Yeah, Viper with a great job here. Viper's like, you're going to come to my dock, then I'm going to make you pay for it. But Andy does get the quick walls down, and the villager's going to survive.
Nice. And
Interesting.
This is a lot of idle time for Viper.
Yeah. Super interesting stuff. Okay, so, the villager's still there, right? Having the villagers here to repair will be useful for both. Andy will be in the next stage faster. He's making a mining camp on gold. So he'll definitely be thinking a fire galley or two. And I feel like with the feudal age time, he would definitely win water here.
Yeah, very, very likely. Fast attack. Viper not committing on gold. Okay, now he's sending 3 villagers over. He actually has a barracks himself. Could be maybe an added spearman in that direction. Or maybe just wants to go straight eagles.
I think Viper is looking to dock Andy's side right now. Like, he knows that Andy doesn't have a dock up there, and that Andy's going to contest his water, so that's the reasoning. I do feel like it's a little risky, though, because if Andy were to plan on killing your fish and then also docking the other pond, it would be the same situation there. But that definitely seems like a dock villager for Viper. Andy might not expect that. And Andy in feudal age. Viper's like, he's going to take most of the fish, though, right? So, like, winning this pond doesn't leave that much fish for you now. There's only 225 food left on the salmon there for Andy to take.
But if we contest the second pond, that's also good for Andy, right? He ideally wants to contest both ponds. And the question is how many fire galleys Viper even wants to build.
Yeah, might not add any. Andy loses his scout. That is a really big deal here. Viper was Mayan, so he started with the extra villager. He's okay with a little bit of extra idle time. He's making an archery range very far forward here. And I feel like Andy not having the scout, with Viper having some potential army coming in towards his base, could be really awkward for Andy to deal with.
Viper opens demo, something I would not have expected. If he gets all the 3 fishing ships, that's the ideal dream for him.
Yeah, even 2, right? I think 1 is expected regardless. You can't really avoid that. But, the demo from Viper. Oh, it doesn't get 2. He is going to have a follow-up fire galley, though.
Perfect instant reaction. And by random chance, Andy scouts the archer range. Because he was just sending the villager on the deer. And now that is really fortunate for him.
Yeah, it is. It does get extra vision with the Byzantines as well. And Andy actually got the palisade quick walls down there. But as Viper has experienced before, that does not always mean that you can dodge the shot. Viper will dock this. He sees the villagers from Andy. Very unique game so far. We have not seen a spiral game like this all season. And I guess Andy's in a position to make some archers and skirms of his own, so he could be okay here.
Tries to wall the left-hand side, but no big rush. Oh, now the dock for Viper, and the archers and eagles will help quite a bit. And those 3 villagers, they seem really exposed.
There's going to be a fire galley out for Andy, though, and it's a Byzantine fire galley, so should be strong. In combination with archers and skirms, could see this being okay for Andy. It's just awkward for him right now. It's not an easy situation to fight in, especially with all the pressure of the moment right now.
Those eagles can't really jump the archer and skirm here because the fire galley is simply having too much damage output. Nice move.
Wow. Okay, so, Andy almost walled at home. There is a gap that he's going to have to plug. Viper's range is still very far forward. It's going to be tough for Viper to really find value from the archers right now. Maybe he could sit behind the wood line, but that's about it. Behind this, though, Viper using the other aspects of the map. He's going to take the berries and the deer. Lovely move from Viper, Nilly. I like that.
Lots of idle CC by Andy. More than 3 villagers, and he is behind by 4 right now because of it. Not really the farm setup. I'm a bit scared for Andy's transition. Viper with a lot of map control.
Yeah, and we've seen this from underdogs where they go for the fast rush and feudal and then the fast walls. It was actually Daniel against Leary where he did a similar thing. But then it's like, where are the farms? Like, where's the transitions? Viper, no farms, but he's got all this hunt. And while he can't break through necessarily, that will be okay for him because he's not taking any damage on his exposed eco behind this.
Yeah, this is totally fine. But Andy, he's sending army out in that direction potentially because he doesn't need to defend the right-hand side. So I wouldn't be surprised if he moves out towards the deer. Did he scout it? Should see it.
He was there before, so he could see the deer. Yeah, I just wonder if in this instance, you just feel like with Byzantines, with 2 pawns controlled, that as long as you don't take damage, you win in the mid-game. Because Byzantines with skirms and cataphracts destroy the Mayans.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm seeing some things here, like villagers now leaving the gate on the left. Now his army's not here. It's definitely just, like, some erratic play from Andy at the moment.
Viper has a demo, but yeah, Andy is just passing by there with his army. And they're now both contesting or both taking the same berries.
Yeah, seriously. I don't think Andy is going to realize. And, of all the good that Viper's done in this game, him not making an outpost when he doesn't see the army from Andy is a surprise to me. He sees the mill and probably gets excited initially, but he doesn't see Andy's army. And Andy's army, no fletching, which really hurts, but could find kills against Viper here.
How does he not have fletching? That's surprising to me. He had the blacksmith. He must have forgotten.
Yeah. As the blacksmith, idle TC, 2 minutes for Andy. The nerves, dude. The nerves.
Well, it's simply the food eco, right? He doesn't have any farms. Berries ran out. He didn't really have proper fish. It's just the slow transition. Just
Yeah.
like, why don't we have like 8 farms by now?
Yeah, he's selling the wood. Just really stubborn with the farms, maybe. Honestly, he never built a mill, right? Until he went forward for it. So that he wasn't able to farm until he got that mill down. And players don't have a real reason to mill next to their TC. So I think that was probably it.
That's the
Viper
problem.
with 4 Eagles on the map. Viper with range units that have had fletching. Viper hasn't taken many losses. Viper applying pressure at Andy's base. Viper was the winner of Season 2. He was the winner of his group here in Season 3. And it feels to me like he's going to have a much better economy long-term here. He's just got so much food locked down. Res collected right now. Viper's collected 600 more resources.
Pretty solid 5.5 villager lead for the Viper. Therefore, castle age timing should be way better for him. Oh, and he tries to clear up, but it's tricky, right? What army composition do you really go for against Eagle archers?
Yeah.
Without cataphracts, it becomes tricky.
Yeah, and maybe that's something he considers, right? Seeing the Eagles, but it does bring it back to the economy. The fact that Viper lost his fish and has 1,000 more food collected in this game tells the whole story. Andy just wasn't able to get the transitions in and still has this randomness going on, right? Like the villagers in the north there getting found by Viper's Eagles.
Ooh, Andy stops chasing the left side. Interesting move. Wants to save his villagers. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. This is the most relatable play I've seen from Andy all season. Like, he was just on a different planet in every other round, it feels like. But you're definitely seeing now maybe what the storyline should have been for some of the group stage. It's just an underdog who has a lot of expectations on himself up against a really big name. And Viper's just been super clean and consistent the whole way through.
The one Spyro game against Terra was absolutely crazy, right? And lots of people felt like, okay, Andy only shines on maps where he can build a lot of monks. Yeah, he had monks in Spyro as well, but his transitions were so good.
Yeah, his transitions have been insane. Even when he's going monks, the crazy thing is he's got like booming behind it, right? And I think that is the surprise. The transitions have not been there in this game. You hope for Andy's sake, obviously, that he could kind of figure that out, and maybe he's past that awkward stage. He is on the way up. The KD 7-4 for Viper. Nothing crazy. Viper only killed 1 more eco unit. And Andy's Byzantines. And Byzantines are a civilization that had very cheap units. So the skirmishers are cheap. And you could use those against the archers. But he's going to need cataphracts sooner rather than later here. Viper's got 8 eagles already.
Well, he has 9 villages on stone. 300 already in the bank. So it looks very reasonable. And skirm cataphract? Viper can't contest that. He then has to boom like 3 TC, some defensive monks, needs to play the late game, and then Andy can dictate the game all of a sudden.
I love how Viper set up his eco, though. He's got the eagle on the right side of Andy's eco, even, looking at the stones and golds. He himself now is going to make the TC, expanding to a woodline and a gold. That is what this map is about. You only have so much gold and stone next to your starting TC. And that's kind of my concern for Andy. It feels like he's going to be under so much pressure here that he might need to place a castle in an area that just protects the starting TC and not anywhere else.
Mainly for production, right? Ideally, you want to have it close to one of your outside TCs to protect that a bit better, but he needs to survive first. And armor for his cataphracts before he even upgrades his skirmishers. Those crossbow will be so efficient, and he has to run.
Yeah, and this is bad. Like, this is potentially game ending here. And the castle, it doesn't really protect that much. I guess he can, maybe he's placed the right castle because it does partially protect the gold, and then he can shift over to the other wood line. But that's the thing, he's shifting over to different areas, and Viper's just expanding like a madman with that eco behind this. This has been the perfect start for the Viper. He's made everything look so easy. The eagle and the crossbow combination. And he just hasn't hesitated the whole way through. It's like from the start, he lost his fish, didn't care. We'll kill a villager here from Andy. And finally, Andy gets Bodcanero with the lead skirm.
Well, he now has an army that would soon win his fight against the Viper. But the Viper's doing all the right moves behind it, right? He will open this area, might even escape with his army. And he's on 3 TCs soon.
Yeah, and he's going to have monks out there, right? So if you close in at all with the cataphracts, Viper will have a couple monks, and then it wouldn't surprise me if Viper with this type of position, ends up getting like 3 or 4 relics, right? You don't really need the monks immediately with this army because you still have the crossbowmen. 55 eco for the Viper, 41 for Andy, and Andy's on 1 TC. This is brutal.
Oh, man. Yeah. I'm not really sure what Andy's steps should be. Like, should he just stay on, like, 3 cataphracts and try to boom up? Or does he have to commit heavily here and has to opt to do damage?
Yeah, maybe there's a compromise. You can't full boom, but I think at least the second town center is needed because you can't fall like 40 vills behind. And then you hope that with a couple good engagements, you could maybe snowball some things against Viper. I really think the key for Viper is actually the monks. If Viper keeps monks with his main army, Viper should have no problems. But, you know, Viper might be feeling comfortable enough to go snag relics. And if he undermakes monks, the cataphracts could help against the eagles. But, oh, God, Viper finding the TC on the left side. Such a good find.
How many villages will he kill, though? Looks like 1. Make it 2. Make it 3.
Make it 3. Yeah, make it 3. Not bad. Which makes it 10 eco he's killed in this game. He actually killed fishing ships as well. And +2 armor for Andy's 3 cataphracts. These are the most important cataphracts he's ever made in his life.
Potentially. Skirms now trying to scare the crossbows away. Eagles, if they wanted to jump, the cataphracts would do lots of damage against them. And Viper, right now, monks and crossbows in production.
Yeah, Viper also on stone. So, I mean, it's coming in rather slowly, but he might expect some type of all-in. He probably senses he's got a pretty big lead. The way this game has flowed has told him that. That score he sees in-game tells him that. And, of course, a castle on a hill Vipers thing will probably be the goal to keep himself protected if this attack gets any worse. Andy kills a villager on the wood line. And he looks for raids, but finds Viper's TCs kind of everywhere here. It's still some major concern for Andy just because the transitions were so slow in the feudal age. He's so many steps behind now.
This looks so clean by the Viper. Like, no real walls, just so much army, and it just feels like he's doing all the right steps. Like, you think, okay, what's the next thing that he needs? And he's already preparing it.
Yep. Eco upgrades that you might have forgotten about before. He gets both the farm and the wood upgrade. Defensively, it's been strong. Even some of the small expansion details, right? Killing the 3 villagers when Andy's building that TC, he doesn't need to do that. But he did it anyways. The eagle on the right side, just keeping an eye on that, doesn't need to do that either. But he's really thought well about this. And I think, like, we had kind of talked about it. This week, Viper been watching the casts. He'd been doing watch-alongs and paying attention to the maps, seeing how everyone's playing it. And that combined with an already amazing group stage for Viper, it's all like clicking for him mentally right here in the quarterfinals.
This is really a clean build, right? And he could watch so many Andy wrecks compared to so few Viper wrecks, it feels.
Yep. Yeah, and like Andy, he didn't hold anything back to get his wins against Nogao, right?
Yeah.
And we are at a stage now where, for the most part, things may be figured out. It's a matter of how can the best players execute. As the cataphracts for Andy, going to dive in to kill the siege. Could lose quite a few cataphracts, though, because Viper's going to have ballistics. Now that the cataphracts are actually out of position and can't fully protect the skirms either.
Oh, man. And now the monks there. Maybe some body blocks with the eagles. Demos from the left side.
Demo! Ah, Viper, just give it to him, dude. There we go. What a nice guy. Viper runs into the demo as he's going to massacre Andy here anyways. Andy won't have many more cataphracts. Viper with a 40 villager lead. Sneaky play there from Andy, though, Nilly. I like the demo idea.
Oh, how did so many villagers just die? How did, like, suddenly 6 villagers come from the right side into the fight?
I think I know what happened. I think he selected all idols in the moment and told them to do a task in his main eco. Or to build the TC on the left or something. And the villagers were idle next to the berry TC he just placed.
Okay.
So they kind of just ran through in the moment. Like for me, sometimes in heated situations, it's select all idols, get back to work. And they can come from anywhere, right?
Yeah, true.
And that's what I'm assuming happens. Viper does lose a monk there. But Viper's economy nearly is just insane. Like, he can take bad trades the rest of the game and still dominate.
We need another demo. Not
Yeah,
happening
seriously.
right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go next to the dock if I were Viper. He's actually just attacking the fishing ship with the crossbows. He doesn't really seem to care.
Yeah, that's quite ballsy, I would think. Cataphract count shockingly low at only 4 right now.
Yeah, he's trying to catch up economically. He's on 3 TCs now, and what does Viper do? Shifts his focus to the other side, and he's dropping a castle. And it feels like once this castle goes up, as Viper's just also building a castle on the left right now, Andy, he won't have any way of taking it down, and Viper will be on the way to the Imperial Age. This is like the last moment for Andy. If he could somehow deny the castle and engage against Viper's army, maybe he's got a chance.
That's such a weird tower, though. Mangonel on the late side, but actually only 6 villagers. That's not a lot.
Yeah, this is true. 80% on the Mangonel coming out from the Siege Workshop. Viper could have sent more villagers here. He had the time. Quick walls from Viper. That won't help against the Mangonel. Viper. This castle's not going up.
Wow.
Wow, really wasteful from the Viper here. Maybe feeling a little bit too comfortable with how this game has flowed. One more moment like that, and maybe Andy's got a chance. He is Byzantines. He doesn't need as many villagers.
Just lost all his skirmishers. He's down to 2 skirmishers. Those crossbows are so good now.
Yeah, that's true. And Viper's villagers actually finish off the Mangonel, and I think Andy knows, I can't stop the crossbows now. The castle will eventually complete, and I'm sure he even sensed that this was over for some time here. No, there's a lot we could typically break down, right? When both players are firing and playing at their highest level, we talk about the strategy of it all. Quite honestly here, Andy was so focused on the docks and the walls, he never transitioned into farms, and that killed him in Feudal Age.
Yeah, the feeling was simply like he never had the time and the map control to build a mill somewhere.
Yep.
And then he was stuck at like, at one point I saw him at 600 wood at the 14, 15 minute mark or something.
Yeah, and then the mill he ended up placing was like very risky. I think he felt that because Viper's archer range was near the berries on his side, that Viper had likely come forward with vills, made the range, and then had the mill on the right. But in reality, that's not what happened. Viper actually was on the berries Andy went to. It didn't actually click for me until I just said it. Like, that's probably what Andy thought.
But he
Viper's
saw
like-
the deer being hunted.
Yeah. That much I agree. I think, like, honestly, sometimes, Nilly, you just have to be like, okay, I can't take the deer. That's fine. Make a mill at home and then farm. You just got to get the farms up.
And you have like 4 or 5 fishing ships, right? You want to go for the farms in the long run anyways. It just, I see the problems.
Yep, was a little underwhelming there for Andy in the first game based on the hype that he was able to build up for himself leading up towards the quarterfinal. But Viper's Viper. I will see what Andy can do in game 2. And first time we've seen Mayans on Spiral. And it looks pretty good.
Well, certainly against this opening, right? I'm just thinking like dock the other pawns. Might it be a mistake? I don't think so. It worked out well. Maybe he docked his own pawn too early.
Yeah, I honestly think he can do everything else the same, but just mill at home and get farms. He had 600 wood when he completed his first mill, and he had to walk across the map to build it. I don't think, like, Viper's in a bad spot. I think Viper's going to be in an amazing position regardless. But in that matchup, I think if your economy's in a better spot, you give yourself more of a fighting chance there. Because, like, the game was over the second that Andy had to drop a castle with no map control next to his starting TC. I think with a slightly better eco, he could compete for a side area where he could build the castle in a more dangerous position. So not the start Andy would have wanted. We, of course, hope that he will be able to turn it around here. And another unique pick from Viper coming into game 2. Here we are, game 2. And folks, it's Chinese for Andy, a civ that used to be like #1 on this map next to the Mongols, but we haven't seen that as commonly this season, Nilly.
Well, the main reason is because we had some big changes there, right? Chinese now don't spawn with the extra villagers. You still have to wait for the town center to finish, and only then you have +3. So in the past, you built the town center faster. Now it's quote-unquote only the villager advantage.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so villager advantage there. Also, I think the docking aspect of this map could be a little bit more awkward because you can't freely chop wood for a long time here. You need to get the food underneath the TC to get villager production rolling, as Andy does that there. Now, Viper has gone for the Vietnamese. Now, the Vietnamese have some fun bonuses at play here, but we haven't seen them picked at all on this map. So your wood upgrades, your eco upgrades don't cost wood. You also know where your opponent's TC is located, and that doesn't tell you too much on this map when players just TC the start right away. But there is the potential sometimes for players to walk to the mountain to build the TC, so I kind of like that.
It's really weird to me to see Vietnamese here. It kind of has to be for Cav archers, but is Vietnamese the best civilization for it? Like, yeah, they're stronger. Eco, you save a bit of wood, but like till your bonuses are kicking in, it takes so long.
Well, that's true. I feel though that the way the draft went, there just weren't many meta picks available still, as Andy has to pull back that villager on the Rhino. But I think Malians was banned. Somebody picked Persians. Let me look at it again.
Malians were banned. Persians were banned. Mongols, like those are 3 strong coastal
Mongols
mountain
are
cities.
banned. Yeah.
Japanese were already picked by Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to dig deep for sure.
Yeah. I think Andy maybe had... This is his home map, right? I think he had planned that draft around maybe getting a win here at least. So yeah, Viper had to think it through a little bit. Viper, though, did make the dock, did make 2 fishing ships. Andy has done the same. He's going up to 3 fishing ships. And I know Andy has a lot of faith in his Chinese build on this map. So I'm curious to see how he ends up playing this. You have the option to go for land, which of course seems natural with the Chinese. But both players have docked, and water could feel pretty natural as well.
Berbers was mentioned here as one of the potential civilizations. I think
Did either
Berbers.
player pick Berbers?
I don't think so.
Huh, interesting. Well, the Berbers actually haven't done that well on this map. They've lost quite frequently due to the fact that they have to wait so long to get to camel archers. And then in instances where camel archers don't feel natural, they've just been going up against like pikemen and monk civs with their stable units.
No.
I still think Berbers are good. Like even just the speed bonus on the villagers to walk to take resources is still super good.
Yeah, actually underrated when it comes to farming as well, which obviously is
Yeah.
not the most important thing here, but it's easier to get the boars. Yeah, could have been an option. Also, you can micro a bit better on water. Like demo gets there a bit quicker. Fire galleys can micro way better, and you could play galleys even.
Yeah, Andy is going to drop off his food here. He definitely... this build is a bit screwy here, Nilly. The idle time's way higher than he would have wanted. He didn't have the building on time, and I think he's going to try and win water.
By the amount of villages
And-
that are going to wood, seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully there's a doubled lumber camp set up. He still hasn't actually gone to gold yet either. It just definitely doesn't feel like the cleanest build up here for Andy.
Yeah, it will be double lumber camp, but it is a weird setup here for sure. Builds the lumber camp now, still not on gold. Second dock will be late, and it just feels
Viper
like...
just shot his... Sorry to interrupt, but Viper just shot his Rhino with his TC, which is a really big deal.
Ooh.
He now doesn't have food underneath his TC, so that's a good thing for Andy here that Viper just screwed that one up.
Viper late with his second dock as well. Played double lumber camp here, still no mining camp. Andy now with the mining camp. And it feels like Viper has a slight advantage on water, but shouldn't be winning. Viper actually opens galley.
Yeah, so that means no second dock for Viper in the plans. We talked about this in our cast the other day, I think, where it could feel very nice to just go 2 galleys, move out, snipe the opponent's fish, and then hope they overinvest into water.
But
Right?
wait,
And Andy is going to go double fire galley here.
with 50 seconds idle time, Andy is actually only 1 single villager ahead.
Yep.
It feels a bit underwhelming. That's not why you picked Chinese.
Well, also, it's kind of interesting, right? Because it's also the cheaper techs, but the Vietnamese have even cheaper technologies for their eco.
Yeah, only for their
Vietnamese-
economy though, right? Chinese
Yeah,
are benefiting
of course.
from all upgrades.
Yep. But like not having to spend any wood on your eco technologies here is sick because you want so much wood for different things. whether that be the docks or whether that be a barracks, an archer range, or whatever Viper may choose to do. There's the first galley. This timing from Viper smooth. And after watching Barl's Yo earlier, there's a lot of hype around Barl's. Barl's doing this, Barl's doing that. And then Yo just kind of reminded the world, this is where I belong. You know, like I'm a semifinal type of guy. I'm going to go there easily. And now as Viper's killed 2 fishing ships, the worry starts to set in for Andy maybe that he's going to receive the same type of treatment from the Viper here.
Feels crazy, right? How we feel, oh god, those players are so good. And somehow, then there's another final boss out of the top 4 that's even better.
Yep. I remember Andy beat Hera, beat Jordan in the group stage. I am seeing a bit more fear in Andy today. Like maybe I remember something that Miguel told me years ago that stuck with me. He's like, you don't feel nerves until you start to believe. Right? If you go in and you're like, okay, I'm the underdog. Sure, I'm skilled, whatever. I'm going to get clapped. If you feel like that, then oftentimes you could perform pretty good because there's no expectations. But the second you start to believe, and maybe you feel like, shoot, like people believe in me, I can actually do something now, that's when the nerves set in. And I'm seeing a little bit of that from Andy. But, you know, his scouting has been good. So that's good. His walling has been good at home, and he's going to build up towards a stable or an archer range here soon on land.
And he just built a fishing ship. Oh, saves it nicely there. So he's back to 2.
Okay. The Viper will ultimately lose his. Viper expected that. Viper is going to actually make another galley maybe to go out there and snipe that fishing ship. And Andy, he saw the barracks from Viper. He has not gone back over to see if Viper is going for an archer range or a stable there. But if he checks, it will be a Viper range, and there is an Andy stable on his side.
What will that be, though? Will he commit to scouts here?
I wouldn't mind it if you know Viper isn't walled. And like, it feels like a game where you're not going to smoothly go to Castle Age anyways, economically. So I would like to see a little bit of something here from Andy.
Wanted to build a mill at the front, then thought better of it, built it further back because he was getting the hunt at the front already. And yeah, first scouts being added.
Yep, Andy is going to see the archer there. Does Viper know about the stable? See, Viper's scouting on point here. It's just surprising to me he's moving forward with 2 archers, no fletching, and no spearmen. It feels like classic, like, freak the opponent out type of a play from Viper without any real thought from him that he's going to accomplish much more moving forward. But that should be 2 dead archers. It's still very weird.
It's only 1 scout right now and a spearman. Does he know? Yeah, okay. Goes for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if that's me, I lose both archers there. So I don't know. Is Viper going to block? No, Andy's blocking. That's Andy's camel. Yeah. A little wasteful there from Viper, but his macro is just sick this game. He's already on the way to Castle Age.
Yeah, so smooth. And now he already has the archer range set up. Goes for a second one. No archers in production. So CA, exactly as expected.
If there was 1 spearman there, though, Andy would have to probably leave the hunt that he's on right now. And, you know, maybe there's a hole, who knows. But Viper, happy to give up some control for now. Viper not completely walled, but not many scouts on the field from Andy to worry about. The expectation here is Viper town centers, up on the mountain, and then a couple cav archers for map control. And Viper did this with the Japanese, I believe, in a series against, I want to say it was Sobek, but it's been a bit since the series happened. So he's very comfortable with the CA play, and I think has known for a long time that this feels like a natural play for him.
I think he sees 8 on gold now.
Viper. I was wondering where it was on the lumber camp. And Viper waits to the last second there. And he quick walls in the scout. That was disgusting.
Sick. And that was such a tiny area as well.
Yeah, like he did it. He had an easier opportunity on the lumber camp, and I was about to be like very uncharacteristic of Viper. Viper's getting old. What is he doing? And then that 1 Vil does both of those actions and kills the scout. Maybe the Vil didn't want help. That could have been it.
Any low HP ones there? No, not really. But yeah, simply 1 tile. Quick wall.
I mean, the good thing for Andy, though, is he knows it should be cav archers here as well, right? He is walled up. He's walling in front of the TC, which is super smart because you don't commonly have villagers underneath the TC here. And Viper could run right through. He's got 7 fishing ships on water, so he is ahead of Viper in workers. Viper does not have the second TC because while the Vietnamese cav archers have HP, they are not cheaper like the Huns, for example. So it's pretty big investment for Viper. And I remember Andy coming back in the Coast to Mountain game after taking some losses against Dogao, right?
Yep, yep.
So he's super comfortable to play this type of game, and he should be in an okay position.
Viper scouts the bottom first. Interesting. And we'll try to loop around. We'll still see a rhino and some ostrich. He might be surprised how Andy designed his base and will now scout the walls for the first time.
I'm worried there could be an Andy overchop. I'm not sure. It's hard with the barracks. I'm going to assume he's not overchopped.
No.
But that is an area of concern for him if Viper has cav archers. He pulls back, though. He has plenty of wood in the back to deal with. And he's going to drop a siege workshop, which he wasn't planning on originally, but I think getting a scorpion or two out in the field in combination with his camels could be really nice here.
Yeah, and that kind of means Viper can't push unless he gets siege workshop up himself. Viper's still only at 1 TC. That's a bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah. I do like how Viper hasn't gone for Bodcanero here. It's unrealistic that you're going to end the game with these cav archers. It's just for control. There's the second TC for him now. And Andy actually spots the timing on that with the camel scout. I don't know, is Viper going to click wall this in as well? No, but Andy is on 2 TCs already. 50 eco against 30 from Viper. Viper could definitely fall behind pretty considerably here with the economy.
Well, let's see that. Andy obviously sold 100 stones and needs to mine some back now to go for the 3 TCs, which feels, well, reasonable. And honestly, feels like Andy might have the small advantage, but those camels against monks?
Oh, man. He has a scout in the stable. It's almost as if he had the scout there instead of the camels. He could have ended up killing a lot there. Will Viper consider a siege workshop? His cav archers get hit by the scorpion once and twice. Nice job from Andy there. And Viper will not break through because Andy will drop a house. Good stuff from Andy. The first game, the transitions really struggled. This game here, it's looking much better. He's collected so many more resources, Nilly.
Goes to the bottom. That's really surprising to me. Now those camels are a bit out of position. You really don't want to lose those.
Yep, agreed. Camels could be good later on. Viper
this could be
will
disastrous.
come to the natural conclusion that he can't go to the other side because of the scorpions. So he will come this way. And Andy's actually going to run much further for this TC now out of worry. I like the decision from Andy to keep moving. And he sees Viper CA and he figures he could build the TC there. It's a risky TC to place, though.
But the monk might see this. One conversion, then fights off. I think the CA might deny this. Oh, no, Andy, this could be so bad.
But Viper's through. So Viper's like, oh, I'm through your walls, kid. This is great. And this is actually giving Andy valuable time to complete the TC. But he also has to defend from this. It could be a double whammy here.
Oh, let's take a look. Scorpion needs to be repaired. Is the repair in time? Seems like it. Oh, that nice save.
Yeah, really nice save. Lots of idle time, though. Lots of exposed eco still. Considering he could have lost 5 villagers and had that third TC be denied already, I'd say this is actually going much better than expected for Andy. And the Scorpions are doing work here.
Yeah, now the CA is so much lower. Some even hitting uphill. And Viper's running into the town center. Viper gets like 3 vills from here. He should be fine.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, cav archers aren't cheap. And Andy has completely cleared them all up. The opportunity for Viper was there had he noticed with his monk that the TC was going up. Failed to react to that. And Andy's actually going to snag the relic there. I wonder, did Viper lose that monk to the TC then?
Very likely. TC has 1 kill.
Yeah, TC has 1 kill. Thank you for reminding me I could check that. Yeah, so Andy actually noticed that and defended. And KD 22-12 for Andy, 77 population, 10 villager lead, 3 TCs. Viper on 3 TCs as well. But Viper's got to build up the CA number again. What a headache.
6 on the field, 6 in the queue. Against 5 Scorpions, won't be pretty, but he's planning to build them long term. And then Scorpions, not that great anymore, unless we obviously get the crazy upgrades for Chinese. But I'm not sure if he's planning that direction. And he soon has enough stone for a castle. Where would you want to see that?
I want to see it on the mountain where he's just now placing an outpost. So I think that's where his mind took him as well. Now, Viper, that's a lot of Scorpions. We know what happened. Maybe these Cav Archers didn't hear the story yet. But we know what happened last time. But Viper's going to be able to use the mobility. As long as Viper is out in the open field, he should be relatively okay.
I think so as well. Wall not...
Yeah.
The hole not plugged, though. I'd like to see
True.
that. Oh, OCA. That's a horrible position.
It would be really annoying, though, if Viper runs through there and Andy doesn't have his Scorpions at home. But I think Viper's not expecting that hole to still be there, so he just runs on past.
And saves everything. And that he can just heal up. No worries.
If this was an Arabia game where the players were closer, I think Viper would have added a Siege Workshop, like, already,
Yeah.
right? And the fact that he doesn't have a Mangonel with his CA is probably due to the fact of how far he has to travel to get to the Scorpions with it. But Andy's slowly creeping forward. Still no castle for Andy. He's been real patient with it. He's actually dropping the 4th TC, and I like that. It's a good decision here.
More to the front, which surprises me. Does he really have that much map control? Siege Workshop in the center could even be really nice. Andy's moving out with Scorpion, something you very rarely see.
No Bloodline. Oh, no. Bloodlines is in. Sorry for Viper CA, though. So 80 HP, whereas before it was just 60. And Viper's going to back up with the Siege Workshop because he caught a glimpse of the Scorpions. And he's dropping a castle, which could be risky, but he has the sense to know that Viper's going to meet him in the middle. And I think Andy should see the Siege Workshop and slowly back away here because this could get bad. And Viper's going to take the fight against the Scorpions.
Oh yeah, and it seems like the Scorpions would just die. Doesn't want to commit in there with the Camels. Camels would be so nice, but the Monks simply putting in too much threat.
And the runners from Viper too. It's like the second a Scorpion starts to get hit, he spread out his units and then he moves them. So the Scorpions are missing a lot of these volleys. Right there again, same thing happening. Beautiful micro there from Viper. And now Andy might hope to have a castle on the TCs here, right? Like, he needs defense from a siege push that could be coming to town.
He has 6 on stone, 175. The big problem with Chinese now, like, what unit are you going for? Like, Chukunu is nice at the top, but if you have 2 TCs at the bottom and your monastery there, you kind of don't want to go full investment at the top.
I mean, I think if you get enough camels, you wreck the CA. Viper's not up yet. I think 4 stable camel production from Andy would be really good. Now, he needs to engage against the army, though. And needs to have +2 armor, which he's getting now. But, of course, production kind of an issue for him. The problem then is Viper is the type of guy with mobile units. He'll know to fall back to some monks and then tech switch into Halb. And if it's Cav Archer Halb, then I really question the existence of the camels. I'd almost prefer Cavalier at that point.
Then Andy needs to switch into, like...
Chukunu.
Chukunu is good. Like, technically Scorpions would be really solid. That's the MTC?
That is the MTC.
Yeah, but still, like, it's one single Mangonel. I think he will be fine. If it was 2 Mangonels, like, I would have already gotten really scared.
Nilly's like, do you know how many times I've gone imp in a risky TC? Please.
Didn't we have a famous game? A game that I've already lost, and then you lost your MTC and I somehow won?
Yeah. It was Frigid Lake, and I lost my starting TC.
Yeah. And you killed like 6 of my feudal age villagers or something, right? Was completely over. Oh, man.
It was, it was a magical throw for me, let me tell you. And I thank you for reminding me, because I forgot that for good reason. Now you brought it up again, so... All right, so interesting positions for the castles. Andy's building a castle on the other side. Viper doesn't have his army there, and that is arguably a more important area. It is hard to say on this map, though, because the position Viper's just taken from Andy, there's a lot of gold available, too.
Yeah, 2 very important areas, it feels like. The top, though, you will always have the hill advantage. You can trap from there. And Andy, if he gives up the bottom, I think he won't be too sad if he makes reasonable progress at the top.
Yeah, as long as he can get trebuchets out of those castles. He's actually going trebuchets from both of his castles. I like the outpost vision from him, too, so he'll know if Viper is going to run up that hill. Imp armor's on the way for the camel. Heavy camel could have come in as well, but it's just kind of pricey when you're under that much pressure to get both those upgrades. So you could argue that's a bit late. But that's honestly just because Viper's been piling on so much pressure here.
Also takes a long time, right? So if you want to have an upgrade that actually is helping you quick, then heavy camo is probably not your go-to upgrade.
Yeah, it's one of the worst in that case. Whereas archer units, they can get bracer from the blacksmith real quickly. And Andy a bit undecided on where to go with his camels right now, but I think he's making the right decision. If he can take the engagement against Viper's CA number, take that out, that would probably be better than having his camels anywhere near where his trebs are about to be.
And he was sitting at 40 on food at one point. Now we're at 27. What's happened? Where are all those villagers around the starting to see? Building some other buildings, and food income is not that pretty.
He did actually farm on the right side too. Like both those TCs had a considerable amount of farming eco on them, so that could have been part of the issue. Viper building a very defensive castle. The first thing he clicks in is Imperial Skirm. Those things are insanely strong in late game. Viper's Cav Archers also going to benefit from the Bracer upgrade he's now completed, and Chemistry, which is on the way. Just feels like there's so much more army for Viper right now.
Oh, army value actually reasonably close here. Those camels will kill the Mangonels. Now interception. Can he maybe send in some light cav to kill the monks? Maybe not needed. This could be good for Andy.
That could be really good. And Viper's just got to pull back to that castle there, which he will do. So he'll sacrifice the monks. And what a fun game, right? Because Viper doesn't have the hill control. And yet Viper has the potential to pressure Andy, but then Viper has the, could potentially need all of his army at home.
Okay, let's take a look what the camels can do at the top, because bottom feels like reasonably unimportant here. And Andy, if he can get to like 4 or 5 traps, I think he can completely clear the Viper.
Yeah, he's trying to get more ranged upgrades right now, which feels a little off if you're up against Imp Skirm, but Imp Skirm will feel awkward if it's only Imp Skirm against the camels and the light cav here. So Viper's got to be careful. He's dropping gates to stop Andy from breaking through. And Viper also has to continue to try and pressure Andy, and he will do that with the Trebuchet there. This is more along the lines of what we wanted in this series, Neely.
Oh, yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Crazy back and forth action.
Good game, and it feels like Viper was a bit late with his pike upgrade, right? Still not a single pikeman on the field against the guy that is mainly going cavalry.
The thing is, I prefer heavy Cav Archer with Vietnamese over any other option right now. I think heavy CA takes you up to 90 HP. You then have more attack. He already has 30 Cav Archers. He's going to treb down Andy's forward castle. If Viper could just click heavy CA, I don't see how 14 camels, 7 Chukanu, and 6 light cav could stop it.
It's honestly like, the more I think about it, maybe go for 150 villagers and try to somehow get to Heavy Scorpion. But Heavy Scorpion, like, you will never really get a proper push. Like Bombard Cannons, like Viper can just move around. So yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, we kind of saw the weakness of the Scorpions already, right? Because it was in Castle Age. And Viper will have more damage output too. And oh man, you could see what Andy was trying to do. You could see him pushing the hill. He recognized the importance of that. But Viper was able to hold while pushing at the same time. And now we're going to have some problems for Andy. The CA mass is insane. It's 92 HP here. He builds a Desperation Castle right next to his other castle. He is raiding Viper in the right corner, though. And Viper hasn't reacted yet. That could be a lot of dead villagers for Viper.
He just finished that town center, yeah. That's a really nice raid. That's like minus 25 villagers.
I think that's the one area of the map Viper's not going to notice. It's so far away from everything else. And there you go. Yeah, he has killed 21 villagers from Viper now. But still, can he stop the trebs? Viper denied the castle at 75%. He's been trebbing it down. I just don't think you can kill this CA ball right now. There's too many of them.
Crazy. 27. Had a bit higher numbers before. And Viper is now completely reclaiming the area at the top. Will control gold, will control all the stone. And Andy, that's basically his only stone at the front there. If the traps are moving forward, it's getting really dire.
Yeah, Halb coming in for Viper as well, which will help against the Cav even more. You then have the 4 relics that he collected earlier in the game as well that we didn't touch on too much. The Civilization also has paper money, which gives you a gold trickle from your Lumberjacks. And Viper's got a lot of Lumberjacks right now. I don't think he has paper money, and it won't matter. He will not get there. A much closer game, too, and more along the lines of what we expected here. But still, like, Viper with the transitions and with the control, just so good, Nilly.
Oh man, you have to love it. And we questioned Vietnamese, but if you play CA to perfection like this and get the economy behind it, it worked out really well. And, well, no Berbers also meant that one of the best counters against CA was not an option.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Maybe Viper, looking at the draft, knew it will be Chinese, because there wasn't the Berber pick on Andy's side of things. But Viper, with some unique Civ choices, still just, even though no one else has played them, it makes a whole lot of sense when he's controlling them. Andy now down 2 games. He would have to win 3 straight to beat the Viper. I mean, that would be some story if he could reverse sweep the snake here. But I'm just not seeing any crazy flaws in Viper's play. It just seems like he's close to his peak potential here. So it's going to be very tricky for Andy now.
Yeah, interesting how Viper like built one single archer and then fully the CA switch. How quickly he transitioned towards Castle Age was really impressive after losing his fish that early.
My favorite thing about Viper's play here was the galley opening on one dock. Oh, was that so good, right? He could invest his resources into setting up the walls and his eco, and he went for minimal investment that ended up killing like 4 or 5, or I think like 3 or 4 fishing ships from Andy. And then Andy gets up to 7 fishing ships, but he has to make more of them. And he also had to make quite a few fire galleys to stop Viper's galleys. So it's like the 4 fire galleys, 6 or 7 more fishing ships, all compared to Viper's investment for 3 galleys. I think it paid off so much, and it suited the situation here where the goal is to get Castle Age, get some map control on land, which is way more important than water.
Yeah, and that's why we had the earlier Castle Age as well. And then it's easy to go for CA, right? Because if you already have like 6 CA out and they have like 2 camels, you will never lose control if you keep care of your units.
And Viper did also shoot a boar with his TC. He lost 400 food. He lamed himself and still transitioned pretty nicely there. But that, like, sure, scoreline may be disappointing for Andy. That was a good game from Andy. He can't have that many complaints. I think the start, more than anything, was a little rough for him. But that was what we had seen from Andy. Lots of fight, lots of grit in some of the earlier rounds.
Okay, still lots of the strong civilizations left, right? Viper still has his top 3 picks. Andy still has his top 2 picks. So there could be a big swing in momentum if you kill one of the early picks of the Viper.
Yep, spot on. Andy could technically choose to play any map now, right? Because if he's going to win the series, you're going to have to win everything that's remaining. So I think it's probably best to just go for your best chance at a victory, which would most likely be Socotra, which is his home map, I suppose. I think he picked Malay specifically for that too, which is an early pick, but some players see it differently. Like, some people think if they have a clear map and a clear civ that they think they are by far the best at, they actually want to save it until the potential 5th game.
I think it doesn't make a difference in the bracket stage. I think it makes sense if you are in the group stage, because then you can hide a strategy in case you're losing the other games before it. But in elimination, I think the order only is important if you don't know which civilizations are distributed for the maps. And sometimes you can make it easier for yourself because, okay, now I will pick Socotra, then you play Civ X that can't be used on the other maps. That's, I think, the only logic that can be applied here.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. What if, and this is obviously not the case here, and I may have used this logic in the past, what if you are so unbelievably outskilled and you know you're going to get destroyed and you just want to save time? So you just say, let's go for my hardest map next. If I win that, I have a confidence boost and I have my best civs available. But otherwise, I just die in 18 minutes and we save ourselves some time. Is that too negative?
I would not be a big fan of that logic, yeah.
Okay, I used that against ACCM once. And let me tell you, some time was saved. So, game number 3.
I did that against ACCM.
What, you? No, I did.
Ah, you did. Okay.
I did, yeah. In the Open Classic. I was like, well, technically this map is my best map, but I'm getting kind of like destroyed today, so let's just go Atacama and end the pain.
Well, it is time efficient, right?
Yeah. Andy, playing as the Malay, Viper as the Khmer. This is actually the same matchup we saw in another cast we did, Daniel and Leary. in a round of 12 match. And Andy, you're crazy. Getting a little close to Viper's TC over here. Viper doesn't seem to care. Viper just pushing in as many zebras as he can before Andy can come to lame him here.
Chance of Viper getting housed?
Very high, actually. He needs to get loom.
Squeezes that one in last second.
On
Somebody
the
did
bright
want
side,
to do?
he probably was going to get loom at some stage, but it definitely wasn't part of his plan.
Yeah, I think he didn't need to, right? He had still so many resources close to him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Andy would have wanted to find more damage with that villager, though, right? And Andy hasn't pushed in all of his zebra yet. So if Viper, now that he has loom, especially as Viper loses some HP on the scout, Viper sees that, we might see him send a villager forward.
That's actually quite interesting, but yeah, Viper has to run. He doesn't know about the zebra.
Yeah, that's true. Andy just boxing him out. That's really good for Andy. Will advance faster to the next stage with the melee. A little late on the lumber camp from both players here. They're just going very heavy on food. Viper might even make a mill.
Yeah, mill
before a lumber
first.
camp.
Makes lots of sense, right? He doesn't need the lumber camp to click up, and it's just the area that will be attacked next. So get as much food as you can from it.
Is he going to make a house next to the berries? Because I'm again worried he's going to get pop locked here.
And this time you can't squeeze in loom for a second time. Yeah, there's those.
Yeah. He's used to the yurts from the previous game because you start with essentially 3 houses. All right. I really like the map layout, Socotra-wise, for Andy. He's got this 2 tiles of stone on the back. If he walls up like he is now, he'll have a gold relatively safe. The berries and other golds obviously still exposed, but Viper's stone access will be more awkward.
Yeah, but how often do you need stone as the Khmer player? It kind of is for traps and imp, right?
Yeah. Viper is going crazy on the stragglers right now. 9 villagers on wood. It doesn't really need wood to this degree at this stage of the game, I would say, unless he wants that lumber camp before clicking feudal, but you don't need the lumber camp before clicking feudal.
Maybe that
That's
was
not too bad, I guess.
Yeah, it's a bit weird how heavily he went on the wood there.
It's usually a little bit more gradual, I guess, which is what was a little surprising about it. But anything in particular you're expecting here from Andy? I mean, feels like you're down 2 games. You had nothing to lose coming into the series. Now you're in full YOLO mode, I would say.
I'm a bit surprised that Andy's walling this much.
Interesting.
We've seen the Thrush opening from Daniel yesterday with Melee, and I think that could have been an option against Khmer again, although obviously most of the time they save their villagers. But you just get a lot of map control this way. You could wall a bit later, but Andy just wants to have a really controlled game.
Yeah, I feel like I would lack a lot of confidence going for Militia against Viper, because like so many times Viper doesn't even scout it, and he just reacts with a quick wall, and then you just feel like, well, I can't do any damage now. So I could see an argument for just playing a little bit safer and just fast archers here if you're Andy, but he's going to click up rather late. It'll obviously still be up at a really fast time, but just later than was achievable. This would be considered more of an eco approach.
Well, I think with Melee 22 is kind of okay-ish. I'm a bit surprised at how quickly he built a farm here. That's way earlier than we typically see.
I like the early farm. There's something about it. I feel like it's like these days it feels like people lose their minds if 1 or 2 farms is made in Dark Age, but when it's been lamey and it's been messy and you have a civ that advances faster, so it kind of gives you more vills later, I like it. I don't hate it.
Archer range by the Viper. Bit surprised by the placement. I thought it would be more towards the mill, but Viper simply thinks, okay, those berries will be gone at one point anyways.
Andy kills Viper's scout. Viper didn't see what Andy was going for as the follow-up then, but I'm sure he assumed it was going to be a range. So there's no like, Viper doesn't know situation here. But, Andy should be moving forward to see what Viper's doing. Like, that is definitely notable, especially because Viper's been super late to gold here. So it's going to be 1 archer, but then primarily skirmishers for Viper.
Yeah, but, like, this map is so tight that you very rarely make use of your mobility. That's why scouts aren't played that often. And
Yeah.
I think Andy simply will assume, okay, this is an archer range opening by you.
Yeah. And then he's also going skirms as well. I think the concern would be if Andy was on gold and was going heavy archers, which it might be what Viper's hoping for here. Well, Viper, not going to be in an easy position to hit Andy. Oh, Andy could let this archer go by. A little awkward for him. It would be like Viper to get value here. But in general, Viper's exposed on the berries. So if Andy can play defensive with the walls and play in towards range units, he actually has an opportunity to damage Viper. And Viper doesn't have an easy opportunity to damage him.
Well, it is one archery range against one archery range, right? And both are in the face of each other. So for now, it simply will be very easy to know what the opponent is up to. I think the only difference where some units could actually be rated if someone has a massive fletching advantage or adds a second archery range. And Andy actually goes for stone. Wow.
Yeah, it's stone. Maybe the last thing you expect here, right? You already have ranged units. I think melee would be pretty comfortable going for ranged unit war against the Khmer in the long run because it oftentimes becomes a question of what your uptime is. But he actually is built a mining camp that's efficient for the stone and slightly inefficient for the gold. So he's not mining stone. It's just a low elo mining camp. I don't love it when he has the gold on the other side, though. I think he will end up having to make another mining camp pretty soon. Well, not soon, but like around Castle Age.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Maybe it just was too crazy. But if you build like this, just build it one tile further down, right? Just closer to it.
Yep, because the gold is the priority there. A Viper, pretty clean. I mean, full control of the series, right? Farming away behind this with the Khmer should be efficient. There's his blacksmith. Andy doing the same. Andy's just going to build a palisade, back away, back to the berries. I like it. Actually has his skirms inside the TC, which I also like. He is super house, though. Not super, I guess, but he is pop capped. He's going to drop a house here. Just lots of pressure from the Viper. And with it being the Viper and with the scoreline being 2-0 right now, it does make you worry a bit. If you are not an Andy fan, a Fandy. I didn't say that. Someone earlier said the Fandies are here. So.
Okay. Oh, Viper lost track of the skirms now.
Okay, classic skirm counterattack. This is what Socotra is becoming. I wonder if Andy just loops around to get the hill and tries to get a good position to take the fight here.
Not too bad, yeah. And he could run in quite deep. 7 against 7 skirms, though.
Nice hits so far. Gets the archer. Gets a skirmisher. Andy hasn't lost a unit. Very well played from Andy here.
Fletching and no fletching.
Yeah, seriously, Viper really cut on upgrades here. And I think he's going to want these units. Now, he'll see that Andy's primarily on skirm and think there's potential to go for a stable, I'm sure. But still would prefer to keep the skirms alive.
Viper will just fly to Castle Age. Could even build a scout here to try to deal with this. Andy, now using the market, wants to get to Castle Age at a reasonable time. And now 9 villagers on stone. He wants a castle on that hill in the center.
Yeah, true. Crazy market. He actually sold his stone. It's like he knows Viper's up because the score dipped possibly.
Yeah, he also sees 7 skirmishes without fletching at the 16-minute mark. So he has to know something. The resources have to go somewhere.
Yeah. Now, what is something that Andy maybe should have an idea of is I am vulnerable up against scouts or something right now. And he's going to see the first scout. Fortunately, while he is at the opponent's base when he finds this out, it is Socotra, so you're not too far away from your own. So he can fall back home, but Viper will like this moment. He's going to kill his skirm, and also could cut this army off a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think...
No fletching, though, for Viper.
Yeah. Skirms probably won't be the most important unit in this game here anymore. The big question is, what are we transitioning into, though? I think actually a stable for Andy wouldn't be the worst thing ever, right? Just an elephant? Wouldn't that help a bit?
I think it would. Viper's going to get through here, potentially. It's going to be really close. And Viper into the spear hit. Kills the spearman, and awkward times for Andy. Another spearman. And the spearman sacrifices his life so that can get rewalled. That's not too bad for Andy.
Thank you. Thank you, spearman.
What a nice guy. Monastery here for Andy. Kind of a tricky spot, right? Because if you go for siege, Viper clearly has a stable, so he can make knights to pick off your siege. Do you think Andy is maybe building up... he wants to build up a force so he can win a fight in the middle and then drop a castle? Or will he opt for a more defensive one?
Ideally, he wants to maybe even delete a house here and sneak around and just try to YOLO it.
Yeah, true. That'd be really fun for us. Viper gets through with his scouts. I do like how Andy, who doesn't have a stable, is saving his scout so he can heal it up.
Actually, really good, yeah.
Yeah. I also love the light cap choice from Viper. Andy with some gates here. Viper's light cap will be in an awkward position to be able to do much. But Viper hasn't gone for a single knight. Most players make like 1 or 2 of them, and then they say, oh, I can't make these because my opponent has monks.
Yeah.
It's like Viper just expected it.
Yeah, well, makes lots of sense against Andy, right? It is the Ender special. Reach castle age, add to archer ranges.
Oh, gates. The light cap trying to get around to the monk. House wall. And Viper trying desperately to get to those monks, and he is not going to kill a single... Oh, he kills one. Never mind.
Lots of work here for Andy, and in the end, well, he still gets a light cap.
Yeah. That's like one of those, if I try that, it doesn't work out, and then I also have a minute of TC idle time.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the Mangonel would have killed 6 of your villagers on the stone.
Yeah. Maybe 7, honestly. I mean, Viper's just got so much control here, right? And Andy has never really been able to push out, and in a series that has been all Viper, now Viper's in an incredible position to deny this castle. Andy needs to complete this without taking significant losses. If he can do that, I could see Karambit Warriors being valuable here.
Yeah, I could see that as well. And Lightcap now diving. That's a bit of a surprise, running through the town center. Mong starts the conversion, could jump into the town center if it wasn't for the massive damage output by the Lightcap.
Yeah, Lightcap did a great job there. Andy's castle at 70%. The TC's not garrisoned, which means that the Mangonel can roll underneath it, and everything else can as well. Looks like castle will go up. And obviously losing the monks is not something Andy would have wanted, but at the end of the day, he's got a castle. He hasn't lost many villagers, and he could run right through the middle and take out all Viper's siege right now.
Andy lost 1 single villager? How is that
Crazy.
impossible?
The Viper did focus on the monks pretty heavily, right? But Viper will now lose his Mangonel, and there's also a light cab there for Andy, which he could use.
So much small army still, like the amount of spearmen and skirms chasing those light cap.
It is kind of funny looking, seeing all the spears and the skirms. But honestly, especially with the melee getting the armor upgrades for free, the extra spearmen will be very nice here.
Yeah. Goes for the scorpions. Nice pickoffs as well. Can we see the save for the Viper? Seems like no. No.
Oh, pathing hurt Viper there. The scorpion went through the choke, which meant he couldn't get the villagers there to repair. So over the last couple minutes, Viper's lost to Mangonel, a couple scorpions, and he's lost majority of his light cav as well. As now he's forced to go into knights to have something a bit stronger than a light cav. And he's got monks in queue.
Yeah. This is the Andy special, right? Monk, Karambit? This would be tricky for the Viper. Now goes for the monastery as well, but Andy doesn't have any expensive units to convert.
The Viper does not have anything on stone. He cannot build a defensive castle. He needs good engagements here, which means good micro. We'll see if Andy can get things together. It's almost like so many units, though. It's going to be so tough for Viper to find the spots. Like, skirms, obviously, aren't the most valuable unit for Andy, but the spears, the light cap, the potential for karambits, the potential for the monks to convert, it's just insane.
Ooh, redemption even. Look at that. Viper knows. Okay, well, the only thing that's really scary against my army right now is scorpions.
Yeah. Wait, Viper got redemption? Oh, no, Andy. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, and he can convert the siege. Viper will, of course, be on the prowl. He already is in the north here, and he has light cav looping around the south. He wants monk kills. Here he goes. Redemption isn't in yet. The spears are there. Viper, though, with some beautiful pickoffs. That's how it's done. Kills the monks.
Wow, 3 monks done. Only 1 light cav lost. Another monk dies at the right side. Oh, that was disastrous for Andy.
I think maybe a case of trying to be a little too fancy there for Andy. Just need to keep everything together there. Don't need to split up like that. He'll have time to recover from this, but this has given Viper time. to build up to the second TC on the hill. It'll give him access and control over that hill. And the gold and the stone there. Good farming eco for Viper behind this. Is really healthy food eco. Even the third TC for Viper now. Wow, he's full booming.
I think Andy was misreading the score, or not reading the score at all. Because it felt like, yeah, okay, Viper could have been at 3TC, but then the score is way, way closer. And, nice gate for sure.
Yeah, didn't like make a house wall behind that because he forgot about it. And really nice save there. Viper converts a Karambit, and the Karambit just gets converted back. But you don't want to use your Monk Juice on converting a Karambit. You want to convert the Knights. And Viper kills the Monk next to the Monastery. Now he's going to kill the Monk next to the Castle. The pathing was awful there for him.
Scorpion raid now into the gold. Oh man, what a wild one.
This is super messy right now. This is like, I feel like we're watching Viper play a new and improved bot or something with so many monks, Lightcap, Spearmen, Karambit, Skirmishers. It's like the classic, you can't counter everything. So what are you going to send my way?
Lightcap. Let's take a look. Conversion of a knight finally.
Wow. Viper has killed so many monks nearly. So many. And the Scorpions are going to help out a lot against this, the infantry and the skirmishers. And the Knights for Viper has +2. I think Viper's army is much stronger at this point.
Oh, well, but can you dive against all those monks? Lightcap count, quote unquote, only at 4. Some Lightcap against this. Viper can't fight.
Also, it feels like both players building up towards a castle that might end the game, right? It's like a castle next to that relic.
Oh, monks so exposed!
Sick. And Viper finds more kills. 1, 2, and... not going to get the third. Scorpion gets converted. Viper is going to have to kill that. It's more so, you know, Andy needs to convert the Scorpion so Viper doesn't have them.
Both players with enough stone.
He needs them. Oh, God. Oh, God. Both are going to the same hill. Both are going to the same hill. Both want that castle right now. Andy doesn't have the stone. Viper does. This is crazy.
Monks around. Villagers there. Now the castle can be set up.
Stone? Where's the stone? There's the stone. There goes the castle. Viper's Lightcap is blocking it. No, Andy. He doesn't have the monks. He can't build it.
Now the monks are coming. Building the counter castle. Both are building it. Viper wants to replace it.
Viper wants it in the exact same spot that Andy wants it. And now Andy's blocking it. And this is just mayhem. But I think Viper's is going to go up here. And I think Andy will be finished in TTL with this. Viper kills most of the monks on the screen. He's got plenty of villagers building that castle. And Andy taps out, calls the GG. Look at that stat. The most created unit for the Viper, 25 Lightcap. The most created unit from FreakinAndy, 22 monks. Maybe something that Viper just saw in Andy's play and said, screw Knights in early game. I'm simply going to focus on Lightcap numbers to snipe those monks. And it was just good trade after good trade after good trade from the Snake. Gets the job done. That was a fun game, though.
That was a really fun game. And I think Andy, like 4 minutes ago, was in such a good spot. It's simply like him thinking, okay, I need to do damage now. But he actually was 1TC. He had the same economy as the Viper and had the better army. Just wait a bit more, get your monk numbers up, maybe check pikemen. And I think Andy would have won the game.
Yeah, seriously. It felt like a couple more spearmen and just a deep breath or two there. You could settle down and maybe snowball some fights against Viper. But he's the underdog, right? With lots of expectations. He also got here by being very aggressive and by pushing, not giving the opponent time to think and to breathe. So maybe that's what hurt Andy in that instance, leaving a couple monks exposed because he was so excited to get conversions. Ultimately, the story ends for Andy. But honestly, amazing performance. He got promoted up to platinum from gold. For some people, they were like, whoa, Andy won his group in gold? That maybe I wasn't expecting that. Then he makes it here where he's expected to be relegated on paper. And in his group, he beat the likes of Jordan. He beat the likes of Hera. He then, of course, in the playoff stage, the round before, beat Dogao 3-2. So I think he will look at this season. I hope he looks at the season as very proud of what he